Well, my friends, I want to give some advice to people on winterizing their car. And I live in Florida, but um, there are things you should do to improve the ride and also the quality and the operation of your car during the quote unquote colder months in Florida. The temperature drops. One of the things that you're going to notice if you have a vehicle that's newer, you're going to see that your TPMS, tire pressure monitoring system light, sometimes comes on your dashboard. That means that the pressure in one or more of your tires has dropped. As in modern cars have sensors in those tires. So the first thing you should do is go increase put air in your tires. That does many things. It's a safety issue because if your tire pressure drops too low, be below what it should be, say in the low 20s or something like that, or lower, what could happen is that the sidewall of the tire would decrease its, it'll flatten and it'll create more friction on that sidewall, and it's not supposed to experience that friction. Friction causes heat, and heat could cause an overheating situation where your tire starts to disintegrate and eventually blow up. And if you have a blowout of a tire while you're driving down the road, especially in your rear tires, you could have a rollover. That's what happened to all those Ford Explorers back in the day. They had those Firestone tires on them, and the center of gravity on those cars was too high to begin with. That was late 90s, I believe. If you see those Ford Explorers, they have a higher center of gravity, and those tires started blowing out. They started rolling, and people started getting killed, and all those lawsuits came out. So there were two various things. The recommended tire pressure was too low, and the quality of those tires um, was bad. Those Firestone tires, and also the center of gravity of those Ford Explorers was too high. So whenever something would rattle the vehicle, it had nowhere to go but to turn and fall. So there's one thing. Check your tire pressure. That also gives you, if you keep your tire pressure at the level that it should be, um, it will restore some of your mileage per gallon, because if the tire pressure is too low, it takes more effort for the car to stay rolling. If the tires are the recommended tire pressure, the car rolls like it should. It doesn't exert more pressure, more power to keep the car rolling. Also, if you don't know what the recommended tire pressure for your vehicle is, the easiest way to do it that I do is open your driver's side door, and on the pillar right there on the sill, you look to your left. There are stickers. One of the stickers gives you the manufacturing date. It gives you the VIN number. There's another sticker, or sometimes in the same sticker, but usually it's another sticker that gives you the recommended tire pressure for the front and the back. Different manufacturers have different pressures. Don't assume it's 35 psi. Some are a little lower, some are higher. There were some Toyota cars back in the day that were recommended 50 psi in the rear tires. Supras, old Supras had that. Um, so another thing you should do when the car is cold, check your antifreeze, um, and make sure that that you have antifreeze in there. You don't want to use straight up water without any type of antifreeze, because um, if water freezes, then it turns into ice, and ice expands, and it'll burst out. Um, it'll break radiators. Some That's why engine blocks have freeze plugs in case it freezes. It finds the ice finds a way to push out those freeze plugs instead of cracking the block or the sleeves or anything. We don't want that to happen. Another thing that people also do is put um, uh, windshield washer fluid in that windshield washer fluid. It's got alcohol in it, so it prevents it from freezing. So you have some type of washer fluid if it gets below freezing temperatures. It doesn't happen much in Florida, but north of Florida it happens everywhere. Um, Also, a lot of people, what they do when the temperature starts to drop, I would recommend that you change to lower viscosity oil so that um, it's easier in the mornings when the oil is cold to get through the passages. If the oil is too thick, um, it's harder for it to get when it's cold and it's starting. It's harder to get it to the cold places to the top of the engine because it's so thick, and it's harder to get it flowing through the engine. So what people do is they drop. If you were using a 1040, people go to a 1030. Some people go lower, 530, 1020, 520, whatever. Recommend. And people say, "Well, I've been using the same oil." It's like in the winter, is better to use thinner oil. That gets liquid faster. Um, Also, some people they get um, into the thermostats. Depending on how cold you are, they go and change the thermostat to a little bit higher thermostat. But down here in Florida, you don't have to do that. I have not seen a need for that down here. But in the northern states where it gets really, really cold, you might have to change your thermostat to a little bit, uh, or just, not hotter, but because they lose their properties of opening and closing. So sometimes they get stuck a little open, sometimes they get stuck closed. So it's a good idea to see how your thermostat is doing, to change your thermostat to whatever temperature thermostat they're asking. So good luck out there.